Lesson 3 for Chapter 10, and this is all about the Roman Empire. So for the next 500 years, emperors governed Rome, so it was no longer a republic. Augustus ruled from 27 to 14 AD, and he brought a lot of stability to Rome through a centralized government and improved economy. He was a really good emperor for Rome, and he did a lot of good things. One of the things he did was start the Rome's fire brigade and police force. So they did not have anything like that before he was emperor. So if you take a look at this picture here, I actually had the chance to go to Rome in college and study abroad there, and that's a picture of me standing in front of a statue with Augustus. And my favorite part is probably this little baby that's just hanging onto his leg right here. So the empire continued to prosper after Augustus' death for nearly 200 years. Romans called this period the Roman peace, or the Pax Romana. So it was a really good time to live in Rome. After this 200 years, we go into this period called the good emperors and the bad. So there were a lot of good emperors that led and a lot of bad, and we're going to go through a few of those. So the first one we have is Caligula, and he was a really bad emperor. There's lots of reasons for it, but we're just going to talk about a few of them. He became emperor in 37 AD. He was mentally unstable and very cruel. He declared himself a god and tried to have his horse made a senator. Members of his bodyguard actually assassinated him in 47 AD. The second ruler was Claudius, and he was a very good emperor. He returned artwork that had been stolen by Caligula. He improved conditions in the empire and granted citizenship to more people in the empire. So he made it easier to become a citizen. Then we have Nero. He was definitely a bad emperor. He ruled from 54 to 68 AD. He poisoned his stepbrother and murdered both his wife and his mother. After Nero's death, civil war broke out. So he did not help Rome's economy at all and actually ended up in a civil war. In 96 AD, Rome entered a more stable period. For the next 84 years, emperors known as the Five Good Emperors ruled. We're only going to talk about one of those emperors, and that's Marcus Aurelius. He was perhaps the greatest of these emperors. He lowered taxes, he helped the poor, he founded schools, orphanages, and hospitals. Now on to government and laws. So the Roman Empire covered a huge area of land. People spoke different languages and had different religions. The Romans were able to unite and rule all of these people. So even though these people came from different backgrounds, different languages, they did a good job of instating rules that everyone was able to follow because they ruled. The Roman Empire was very spread out. It ruled lots of countries. So even though other nations created vast empires, like we've learned about this year, none did a better job of developing a code of laws that all people in the empire could follow. So here are a few of the rules that they still follow, that we actually still follow today, that the Romans developed. So the first one is you're innocent until you're proven guilty. Second one is your accused people have the right to face their accusers and defend themselves. So in court, they have the right to go to court with that person and defend their side. And then third, people have rights no government can take away. So we have rights that cannot be taken away by the government, such as religion and the right of free speech and the right for people that work in television, newspapers, to write what they want without worry of what the government will do. Okay, on to a really fun part about Rome, entertainment. So the most famous Roman arena is the Colosseum, and it's this huge arena that could seat 50,000 people. It was the most popular events. It was one of the most popular things to do back in ancient Rome. The most popular events they had involved gladiators fighting each other or gladiators fighting animals. They had professional fighters, and most of these were actually prisoners and slaves, so people didn't actually want to do this. And they would fight these other people or animals to the death. So here's a picture of my mother and father when I was in Rome. And this back here, this is actually what the Roman Colosseum looks like from the outside. And then here's another picture of me in the Roman Colosseum. And you can see here the levels where seats used to be, that go all the way up. And then sometimes what they would do is there used to be a floor right here. And this is all underground. So this is where they would keep the animals, they would keep the people before they would go up. They kind of had these elevators with pulleys on them. They could pull you up. And sometimes they'd even fill this whole arena up with water and they would have ship battles. So this is very extensive and awesome technology developed during that time that no other civilization had. And that is the end of lesson 3.